Hey everybody, what is up? Toby Salgado, Super Agents Live. Glad you tuned in today. If you are new to the show, I'm glad you found it, and I'll tell you very briefly what we do. This show is about entrepreneurship, and we talk about entrepreneurship through the lens of a real estate agent. But really, again, whatever, if you're a plumber, pie maker, painter, whatever, the stuff we talk about will help you. Now, before we get to the content, now today's episode, really briefly, I got this Italian guy from New York on, pretty good stuff in this. He does have an accent, so I hope that's not too distracting for you guys. I didn't have a hard time with it, but I think you're going to love it. Now, before we get to the content, I want to go on a little bit of a rant. Now, if you don't want to hear my rant, that's okay. Just fast forward to the content. But here's what this little thing is about. If you're listening to this show the day it airs, it's going to air December 9th, 2014. Now, why is that at all important? There's two things. Number one, I really hope that you guys have put some time thinking about your 2015. What does that look like for you professionally, for you personally? Number two, that's somewhat important because we're coming up right on our 1-year anniversary. I've done 160 or 70 or whatever interviews. We haven't released all of them, obviously. And man, this show has gone through this really big growth phase. And look, I've grown as well, obviously. You can't not help grow when you have these people that are on the show in my life, and I hope that you've grown, and I've seen growth from you guys and growth, whatever. I've seen personal growth, I've seen professional growth. I've gotten to know a lot of you through Twitter or through email or whatever. I know where you live, I know what your business looks like. I've helped you. Hopefully, that's great, and I hope that I can continue to help you. I want to continue to add value. Now, if I look back on our 2014, I've amassed 40,000 faithful listeners. Thank you guys. We've been in What's Hot and iTunes. We're top 100 business show in the world on both iTunes and Stitcher. That is very humbling, and I'm very honored that you guys have helped us get there. Now, 2014 for me was all about growth, user, audience base, all that stuff. And again, hopefully me earning a little bit of respect in the world of real estate, getting to know some of the top people. I'll share with you really quickly my 2015. What does 2015 look like for me? 2015 is going to be about monetization. Now, if you look back in 2014, I've never asked you to buy anything. You go to the site today, there's nothing for sale on it. And again, that was deliberate. It was deliberate because I wanted to earn your trust, and hopefully I have it. Now, and even 2014, I literally had one paying sponsor, and I turned sponsors down every week because I want to be careful about who I endorse. So 2015 for this show is I'm going to start to monetize it. Now, and let me say it this way. I'm going to start to monetize the platform. So obviously, if you've been listening, we have a radio division, right? Radio works. Radio is a crazy medium. So we're building that out. And for the radio arm of this platform, my goal is to have 100 clients. That's all I want. I want 100 clients. And in terms of average spend and all that, so, what will that earn me? That will be, I'll earn about, 60 grand GCI, or what is that, 720 grand top line. Now, most of that will be net because we don't have a huge overhead, I have 3 or 4 VAs and that's about it. So yeah, so this year from the radio arm, I want to make about 750 grand. From the platform itself, I'd love to make another 200 or 300 grand. And what does that mean? That means this. We may start to get some sponsors. So I may put you through, a minute or so of me saying, hey, go out and check this product or service out. So that's one way we can earn some money. The other way is I really do want to help you guys. I want to change your business. I want to help you guys have a better life, have a better business. Now, what can I do? What can the show do to help you? What do you need? Is there a product or service out in the marketplace that doesn't exist, or that does exist but it's super crappy and you would like us to get it better? Now, let me tell you something. If I look at the industry and who's doing what, we are light years ahead of everybody else. In my opinion, most real estate agents, whether it's vendors, service providers, or whatever, they're either very, very extremely narrow, or two, they just don't know tech, man. They don't know what 2050, what year we're in, So what product or service would you like me to create that you would put your hand in your pocket and say, Toby, I'll pay for that? What questions am I not covering? What topics am I not covering? How can I help you? I really want to know. Let me throw out an idea. Now, this is an idea that I don't know if we're going to do, and we probably won't, but I thought about it last night, and I thought I'd run it by you today. And it's this. It's about the world of coaching. Now, I don't, if any of my coaching friends are listening to this, I don't want to be a coach. I have no interest in building a coaching arm of this show out at all. What I would rather do is be an intermediary between the coaches and the person that needs coaching. Now, obviously, coaching is important. The problem that I see, there's two problems I see in the world of coaching today. And one is many of these companies, they're literally sales machines, right? They do all these events, which that's fine. And then basically they want you to get in their funnel. And once you get into their funnel, they are brutal, man. You're going to get a call every 2 days. I don't think that's a great way of operating. Two, what I perceive as a problem, and listen, if you're a coach and you disagree with this, that's fine. I'm not picking on you. I'm not saying any names, but people want to make you sign a 12-month contract. Man, asking me to sign a 12-month contract and not even allowing me to talk with the person that I'm going to, or prior to me talking with the person that's actually going to coach me at your organization, I think is bad business. Now, here's the deal. There's 20 different coaches, Eric, Sue, Mary, Dick, Jane out there for you as the consumer to choose from. How do you know if they're any good? You don't. And at the end of the day, I know them better than you do because they've been on my show. I talk with many of these people offline. I trade a lot of emails with a lot of these people. I know them better than you do. So what if we had a service? What if we had a service and instead of going right to the coach, you went to us and you went through a process of, okay, this is what I'm good at. This is what I'm weak at. This is what I want to look like in a year from now, whatever. And we put you through our matrix from what we know from these coaches. And we said, hey, listen, from everything you've told us, Sheila Smith is the best coach for you. And by the way, we think you should be with Sheila for about 5 months. We want you to get these skills. And then for the rest of that year, you should move to Patricia Smith. Now, I don't know if we can monetize that. I don't even know if these coaches would allow us to mess with their contracts or anything. But to me, it seems like a good idea. And it seems to like a good idea from my viewpoint because, again, I hope that you trust us. And I hope that you can see that, we probably could pair you with the right coach rather than you just getting into all these conversations and then people, calling you or whatever. So let me know what you think. And by the way, look, if you haven't signed up for our membership site, go sign up. If you haven't downloaded my free ebook, go get it. All you have to do is give me your email. It's free for both those things. And thirdly, if you have not subscribed to the show on iTunes or Stitcher, go do that, please. And you know what? If you like the show, leave us a rating and review. All right. So that's what my 2015 is going to look like. It's going to be the year of monetization. What is your 2015 going to look like? Send me an email. Let me know what you think. Hey, let's get to the show. Welcome to Super Agents Live. This is the one place where you can come and hear the most successful people in real estate. You'll hear how these super agents built their businesses, how they stay productive, and how they stay motivated. Who am I? My name's Toby Salgado, and I made my first $1 million in real estate. Yeah. And I'm your host for the next 30 minutes while we talk to yet another amazing real estate entrepreneur. Stay tuned. Let's go! Today on the show, I'm thrilled to talk with my next guest. Now, this guy is in New York City, has a team of 25 people. Last year or this year is going to end up with 200 transactions for a total volume of $100 million. I'm thrilled to welcome Richard Nassimi. Hey, Richard, thanks for taking the time out, man.
Thank you, Toby. Thank you very much for having me.
So now listen, I gave the audience a brief overview of what your business kind of looks like. But before we get there, you're a guy from, with an Italian accent in New York City. Take a minute, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into your business.
Well, my life is quite very, I would say, simple but complicated. I came in America in 1997. Right away, I started in the diamond industry because that was from my family. My father was a pioneer of diamonds and precious stones in Italy since in 1960 when he moved out of Iran in the 1961 with my mother, and he started right away into gemstone. I wasn't fond about it, but, family business, right, Toby?
Sure, absolutely.
He took over. So I immigrated here with my mom and my brother because my father passed away in 1997. On a November, during the winter, we came here, and we started right away in the middle of 47th Street, which is the heart of the diamond industry of New York and America. We started right away there into the diamond business. Yes, it was like a very tough area because, as well renowned the area it is, people know that it's a very cutthroating street. Not that real estate is easier or walk in the park, but again, there it's very tough. But we started there. And in the first 2-3 years, we were happy. We were having a very good economy, very good sales. I was kind of okay in it, but I was always mesmerized by the buildings, by the surroundings, and I see all these towers. Obviously, nowadays, the skyline is completely changing since 2000. But back then already there were office towers, and I was saying, oh my gosh, you need people to buy, people to move, people to live. It's a continuous traffic in New York City, non-stop, very, very evolutional and fast-paced, and I loved it. So in 2005, my company started, so-so, and I decided just to leave because it was about time. I got married, and the first thing I did is okay, I want to get into, say, real estate, but I don't want to go into business and run after client and, beg them for business.
Right.
Making them believe that I'm the best. You understand what I'm saying, Toby?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I wasn't looking for that. I wanted to build a long-standing business where people knew that I was a very good broker. I would bring the good product, the good income for investors, for people living in it, pied-à-terre. So I took a job as a general manager at a restaurant famous, Caffè Fiorello, which is right across the Lincoln Center, Italian brasserie. And I was working for a big, restaurateur. His name is Shelley Fireman, very renowned. But during the mornings, I was working as a real estate broker, Monday through Friday. And at night, from 4 to 2 a.m., I was working in the restaurant business.
Oh, wow, man.
Yes, exactly, Toby. So I was working from, let's say, about 18 hours a day, 19 hours a day.
Oh.
And the weekend on Saturday I would relax, but then on Sunday I would work in real estate. But I also had a little team of contractor, to do some repair job in my town of Great Neck to make some, extra money and learn even the business of construction. So I was hands-on. And then finally, slowly, I started to make deals, bigger. Then I started to, get other brokerage to call me to come and join their company. Until then I landed to Corcoran for 4 years and a half, where I became director of sales in many different various buildings. I did the consulting with the developer, and now, now we have our own corporation, our own company, which is segmented in 3 ways. But before getting that, I wanted to give you a little history until today.
No, I appreciate that, and that, I mean, you have, I mean, it's a very interesting history to me, and the first thing that pops out at me is, you are, they talk about America. America is the land where you can do anything, and it's
God bless America.
Yeah, and but you know what? The people who are coming out and making it big, they are immigrants. They're, it's not necessarily the people that, regular Americans. It's the immigrants who came from another country who have a strong work ethic that buckle down and do whatever it is. They open up a 7-Eleven or whatever. Now,
Toby, America is about immigration. America was founded on immigration.
Right. No, I agree. And I don't want to get political because, I mean, I have my thoughts on, immigration, especially with, what the administration's doing. But look, let's go back to the diamond industry, because I've never talked with someone in your shoes. I have bought diamonds from a New York guy. Let me tell you a quick story. And this is amazing to me. This is back in 1999. I'm going to get engaged. I do a search on the internet for diamonds, right? I want to learn about them to know what I'm buying. And then I end up basically through a site. I'm talking with some old, a Jewish guy in New York, and we talk about what I want. And I say, okay, this is what I want. This guy, Richard, he's like, okay, I have a carat and a half, and it's this, VVS, whatever. I don't remember what it was. But he's like, give me your address. I'll send it to you and you can check it out. This guy, I gave him no credit card. He doesn't know who I am. Sends me a $7,000 diamond with the certificate. You know what I'm talking about. In the mail. And I could have run off with a thing. I didn't. I sent it back and got another one. But have you ever heard of such a thing? To this day, I don't know why that guy did that.
It's very curious and peculiar hearing it from a direct client. I was in the industry as a wholesaler, but it's very, very interesting to hear this view from like a client, an outsider, you're the end user. Well, let me tell you, in the diamond industry, one thing which is very fascinating, and that comes from the old ages. I'm talking to you about centuries ago. The most important thing between diamond dealers and when they give to each other diamonds was the shake of hand. It would be more than a signature. See, Toby, a diamond, right? Let's get an example, 5 carats, right? 5 carat is big, like maybe half your pinky, even less.
Yeah.
Let's say 1/3 of your pinky, right? Let's make it like a universal measurement, correct?
Okay.
So in that little piece of rock, you have about, let's say, nearly maybe even $100,000, depending from the clarity, grade. I'm not sure how well educated you are in the diamond section, but it can range the varies of price.
Yeah,
okay, but let's say for
color,
instance,
cut, clarity, right? The 3 C's.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Very good. I see the internet has overruled everything now. Back in the 2000, people, you have to teach them. Now you go on Google, you find everything.
Yeah.
So you have $100,000. It's not a house. A house, you can take it away, steal it.
Yeah.
You can't put it on your shoulder and run away. A diamond, you can. You can put together 10, 20 diamonds and run away. So even if you sign papers, you can put yourself a portfolio of like maybe $10 million if you have a good credit. You understand what I'm saying? In the market, in the in the round, if they know you, they would give it to you. So that's why the main important thing was the trust. Your word was very important in the industry. Shake of hand, which I translated, into real estate also. Because, yes, you have contract. Yes, you have agreements, right? But at the end of the day, in the diamond, especially in the diamond industry, it means nothing. You can still take away those goods, and it's very easy to take them away. It's not even a piece of art from Picasso that you have to, put in a container and then ship it. It's just pieces of diamonds, rocks that you can put together and just leave, and there's nothing you can do. So that's why that was the trust, and the trust translates with the end user. And whoever was in the diamond industry, comes to real estate and love the fact that there's contracts, agreements, but still, we still have that nostalgia, right?
Yeah.
Of the shake of hands.
Yeah. Again, I just talked to this guy on the phone. And look, I felt it induced a weird feeling for me, because this guy did trust me with a $7,500 rock that I could have taken away. He didn't know who I was. I could have given him a fake name. Who knows? But I sent it back. It wasn't the right one for me. I sent it back, and I was sweating the whole time, worried that something's going to happen in the mail. And then he sent me another one. So look, here's what I want to know from you, Richard. Right? So the diamond industry is a very difficult business to get into, right? To break
Correct.
into it.
Correct.
But you were successful in breaking into the diamond industry. What kind of things did you do to break into the diamond industry, and how did you use that then to break into real estate in a big way?
Well, let me kind of correct you a little bit. I was successful in the first years, but then after that, I didn't like it anymore, so I really stopped even following it, and I got out. But at the first years, we were very successful. It's all about the old art of selling. Because you know what? In real estate, you have assets, and it's more real and tangible. In diamonds, especially in those age when the internet was not so strong like today, people need to be educated, and they needed to trust you, and they didn't know that, if you're selling something, it's like you have to own it, because the only way to sell it is like if it's yours. You know every corner of it, correct?
Yep.
So if a client comes there and he wants to buy a diamond, it's even harder because, it's a commodity. It's a luxury. It's the last of the wheel that you're going to purchase, It's not like the first thing you're going to go and buy. So it's a very tough selling point. I say it's the Harvard of the business, of the selling. It's the Harvard of selling, I can call it,
Okay.
Where you go to the toughest college to learn how to do the master of selling. Once you get out of that, I think any other business, it's not easier, but, you have a very big baggage behind you of knowledge and skills that, when you translate them into real estate, not that you're going to sell tomorrow morning, but, real estate is very tangible. People, any person with some money or even going to make a mortgage, going to buy an apartment because they need to live it or they want to invest, right?
Yeah.
So they need an apartment. They need a building. It's not a luxury. It's a necessity. They need to rent, okay? So mix that necessity plus the magical art of selling. It's a explosive mixture.
I agree. So and this is what I want to learn from you, Richard. Is how did you learn that magical art of selling, and what are some of the things that you took out of it? Because I'll tell you this, even in this conversation, I mean, you've drawn me in, and I'm sure you've drawn the audience in the whole way. But you keep asking me questions. You say something, and you go, "Isn't that right, Toby?" That's a sales technique, and you've done it to me 3 or 4 times, and I'm okay with it, but I mean, it's probably so ingrained in you, Richard, that this art of selling. How did you learn your craft in that regard?
Well, look, I have to tell you something, Toby. First of all, my questioning, it's always because I like to hear views of other people. Because you learn, you grow by knowing other people's opinion. In real estate, when I sit down with my investor, I'm not going to tell my investor, hey, this is the best apartment, this has the best return, grab it. If not, you lose it. I sit down and tell them, this is it, but let me hear your comments. Now, let's go back one step. The art of selling. The art of selling, it's 50-50%. 50% is on the ground, dealing with people, dealing with end user. You have to feel them. You have to understand them. You have to get there inside of them, what they want to do, how they live, how they breathe. Once you're inside the customer, you understand what is the product. The secret is not selling something. The secret is understanding what the person wants. That's the biggest secret, and I learned it by knowledge, by time, by being on the field, always in contact with clients, and many of them, they are one of the hardest people there is around, like, the impossible buyers.
Right.
The buyers that whatever you do, they're always going to find something to tell you, hey, no, it's not enough. Hey, no, it's not enough. The price, I want more. I want the certificate. I want the free C cut. I want flawless. No.
Right.
So you have to learn to accommodate, man. It's all about hospitality. I also want to tell you, translate also from the restaurant business as general manager, I learned. But getting back, that's 50%. The other 50%, I think it's just DNA, to be honest.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting that I would agree with you with that last piece. DNA and just it's just being who you are. Listen, I'm a great sales guy, and since I was a kid, I was a great sales guy. But let me ask you this, Richard. So 50%, half of it is getting to know what they want, uncovering their desires. How do you do that? How do you you personally, Richard? How do you if you and I sat down? Okay, how would you do that without it being
Look, Toby. Let me see something. Like, for example, when you have a kid, right?
Yeah.
You have kids?
Yeah, I have 3.
Good. I have 3 girls, myself too. Okay? So there's 2 ways you can deal with them, especially nowadays. It's when they go crazy, deal with them or fight with them, right?
Right.
You have 2 choices. Yeah. There's no other boundary. There's no you cannot get any prisoners. It's their way or your way. But your way would be hitting a wall because they're going to become more reckless and more upset, right?
Yep.
So the secret is You have to understand, every time my brokers or my developers or people that want to partner up with me, they tell me, Rich, we have a person which is perfect for you. I tell them I want to see him face to face, or I want to talk to him on the phone. Because you can understand by emotion, by feelings, by the way they talk, by their body expression and their language. There's many things you can learn from the person when you see him face to face, by the way he dresses, by the way he takes care of himself, or by the way he doesn't care. It's not like it's a default, but by that you can understand everything about a person. I have a lot of bad things in myself, a lot of negative things. But one thing I have, and I call that upon myself, I have a scary judge of talent. I can see people within 2 to 3 minutes when they're sitting in front of me. I can understand where they're gonna go and what we're doing and what they want. I train myself, and every time I sit with a client, I'm not just staring and listening to talk. I am understanding what they want, and that gets better every time. It's like psychologists. Psychologists see, 1,000 patients a year. Obviously, you're going to become a master in understanding by people, seeing every person, how his acts are, how his modus operandi of life is, That's the way they're going to learn. That's the way you get better. The Japanese have the best culture in the world. You know why?
Why?
They wake up in the morning. The first thing they do, they see how they can perfection what already they did yesterday. They perfection every day. They don't stop. They try to get perfection. Perfection is not a point. It's a marathon. You're never going to get to perfection.
Right.
It's not something you get there. It's like a long walk. You're going to learn. You're going to see. But you have to be always eyes open. I always think that we here in my office try to always go towards perfection. Because you know what? We're never going to achieve perfection, but excellence is the second step. That's what we're going to achieve.
No, that reminds me of Jim Collins' Good to Great. I want to go back for a second. So you have this scary talent, right? In 2 or 3 minutes, you can really get a measure of people. And I will tell you, for me, I think I have something similar. I can do it with groups. I do a lot of public speaking, and I can literally, nobody's talking with me, but I can look at the crowd and I can know, I just lost him, 15 seconds ago. And then I work to win them back. If you have that talent, Richard, the next step is to if you can really get a sense of who they are and what drives them, and the next step is to then influence them. Talk to me about how you influence people, or do you?
Okay, I prefer to call it differently, Toby.
Okay.
Influence to me sounds, I know what you mean by, you mean it in a positive way.
Yeah.
Influence in the sense, but I think influence is a negative term.
Okay.
Lead them is a better word, I think.
Okay, yeah.
How we want to lead the crowd. How do we lead the crowd? See, when you have one person is one-to-one, correct?
Yep.
So you have in front one person, he likes pizza, he doesn't like steak. So you know where he's going to go, right? Mm-hmm. When you have a crowd of 20 people, you're dealing with a different kind of crowd emotion, right?
Yes.
So the secret is you have to be the leader. They cannot have their own decision or judgment by themselves, because then you're going to have like democracy, 20 votes, right? Mm-hmm. And you might end up with 18 different votes, on about what we're doing. You have to be the leader. The leader, when he shouts the word with the strength and the passion of the way he shouts the word, necessarily the word doesn't have to be strength, but the way you do it, people will follow you or will not follow you.
Interesting.
So the way you shout it is the most important. You can say money, and people are going to be, oh, okay, sure. But if you say with passion, money, people will follow you.
Yeah.
That's a big difference.
So you have a team of 25. I'm sure you.
And we are growing. And we are growing.
Yeah, and look, at the end, we'll give you a shout out, and hopefully, I do have New York listeners, so we'll see if we can get the phone ringing for you guys. But in terms of you being a leader, and you being passionate about growing a team and growing this business, how do you think that you are a great leader? And that may not be the right question for you, but you can take that wherever you think you want to go.
Well, thank you very much, Toby, for the great leader. I thank you very much. I always try to keep my ego low, and it's always very good to hear that. Let's just call myself leader. The leader I like to take whenever there's something wrong, I always don't blame it on my agents, don't blame it on my employees. I blame it upon me. And when things go right, we all a team. That's the first thing I do. I never see things in negative way. When things happen which are not positive, we need to study them, and we're going to make it twice as positive instead of being negative. We always look things, yes, and obstacle are never bigger than us. We are bigger than every single obstacle. So there's no obstacle that would stop us. If we focus, if we're determined, and we set a goal, failure is impossible. So we are together. And any of my agents, no matter how busy I am, no matter how taken I am, no matter how many deals I have on my table, and how many joint ventures I'm doing, no matter what I'm doing, if they need me, I'll find the time to meet them and sit down for 5 minutes. No matter how small or futile their question is according to them, I do not care, because nothing to me is futile. Everything is important. It's always a learning curve for them and for me. You know?
Yeah.
Once it's said, rich people always want to learn. Poor people think they always know.
Yeah, that's a great line. And listen, we have a great following on Twitter. So whoever's listening, I want to see that on Twitter. Poor people always think they know, and rich people always want to learn. So your personal motto or your business motto is, personal responsibility, and you're the guy. I love that notion. If something goes wrong, you take responsibility for it. And what that says to me about the culture you've built, Richard, is that, you don't sit at the top and say, hey, I'm the boss and you should, right? You have this inverted thing where, you're at the bottom and you're there to support your people, not tell them what to do.
Yeah, like a father, like a father of the kids. If the kid goes wrong, what are you gonna do? You're gonna say your daughter or your son, hey, take my son, my daughter, punish them? Of course you will not do that. Why would you? It's nature. I would never do that to my agents. I would go there in front. If they did something wrong, in front, I will always protect them. I will always tell them, listen, okay, it happened to the other person. We can fix it. Inside the house, I would talk to them and get even mad with them. But this is between inside the family. On the outside, I would never make them feel low or bash them. I will always be the protector. Obviously, being realistic, if someone does something that is not correct, you have to be also kind of like apologetic or like discuss it, not saying, no, that's not correct, that's not true. You have to admit guilt if it ever happens or if something doesn't go right. But the most important thing is that you discuss it in-house, like a true leader does. And true leaders don't go there and brag, I'm the president and CEO.
Right.
Because people know who they are. You don't need to tell them who you are.
Right.
And that's what I do. I don't need to go and tell everyone who I am. I don't want to tell them. And I don't have the time to tell them. Right. And I don't want to have the time to tell them.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. Well, look, trying to get a sense of who you are, and this is a different interview than I normally do, but this is really fun for me. So you immigrated here with your mom, and with your father passed. Are you the oldest, Richard?
No, I'm the youngest.
You're the youngest.
Only me and my brother. Yeah. My brother Philip is still in diamonds. He's still in the business.
It's interesting to me that you have this this very strong sense, and again maybe this is because of your blood, right? Because you are an immigrant, you being the youngest, you said, hey, like a father, do it in house. It's this familial thing to me. Is I would have thought that you were the oldest, but
no.
So a few times in this conversation, you've talked about language, right? I said influence, and you said, let's say leadership. How important is, and again, this emphasis on being positive, how important is this language to you and the culture that you built there?
Well, Toby, let me make you an example. Are you ready to hear that?
Yeah, I can't wait.
Okay. When I tell you right now, hey, Toby, let's go to war, what does he tell you? We're going to war, right?
Yeah.
I say, Toby, let's discuss about the war. What does he tell you? We want to talk about it, correct?
Yep.
Huge difference. You're talking about two huge difference. Language, it's very important. Because the word you use influence the outcome, the results. You have to be very careful. And then it becomes natural. You can even be systematically a computer that everything you say, you sound like a telemarketer. You have to be with the flow and logical. But you have to be careful also the words you use, because any word, it's like an arrow. When you aim with the arrow, right? You aim, you're ready to let the arrow go. A little deviation at the beginning can make a big miss of disproportionate way. It can go the opposite way, right?
Right, yeah.
A little mistake. Same thing, the words or how we act, how we sit down in a meeting, how you talk, it's very important. It's very important. The terms you use, some people, they sit down with me when I sit with all the bankers and we're talking about refinancing one of the buildings, and they sit down, they talk with all those terminology, frothy, or EBITDA, all these kind of things, and they get all about, happy about that. But I then tell them after an hour, gentlemen, we concluded nothing except hearing your vocabulary. What do I care about your vocabulary? Let's get down to work. Let's get down to work. Let's conclude it. 2 + 2 = 4. It doesn't equal 5, no matter what language you use.
Right.
Correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's stick to business. Talk is cheap.
Got it. Okay. So, yeah, and look, I agree with the language piece, right? It's one thing to say, hey, we have a problem, and it's another thing to say, hey, we have a challenge, right?
No, not even a challenge. There you go, Toby. There is a situation.
Okay. So
I would call it situation.
All right. So again, I know you're a super busy guy, and I told you that we're going to do at least 15 minutes. So
Toby, it's my honor. It's my honor, my pleasure to be here with you.
So let's talk about marketing and wait. Let me back up. So in terms of your team, now most people will join a team for one of three things: 1, better splits; 2, better training; or 3. I can't believe I missed the third one. Why do people join your team? What's your unique, selling proposition?
Look, the split. I tell you something. There's some brokers. They're so adamant about the split. Oh, it must be 60%. Must be 65%. No, I'm not gonna move for 67%. Or even when they're making a deal, they're trying to say, okay, I'll pay you 5%. No, I want 5.2%.
Right.
At the end of the day, first of all, the split commission means everything, means nothing. You can have 100% splits, but if you don't make deals, that's just air.
Right.
You follow?
Yeah.
I always say, hey, listen, let me see how good you are. And trust me, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a visionary. If you're a good asset for me, I will not let you go out of this office.
Right.
But if you don't make it, I can give you even 110% split that I'll pay on top just to make fun about it. But you're not going to close anything.
Yeah.
So for me, my agents are an asset, but also on a liability, not on the legal point only, but on the point because whoever comes here, gets my training and stays next to me, hand to hand, and it's, they have my knowledge, my baggage, all my know-how and experience behind me. They have it. So it's very important, that costs money. It's not for free, but again, I believe in long run. I believe in volume. I don't believe in high percentage on one deal. I don't live on one deal.
Yeah.
I live on multiple deals. So many times, sometimes we're in the middle of a deal and we're at the closing. I remember very well this closing, and let me tell you a very fast example, right?
Okay.
We were at the closing, and the apartment was like $3 million. So we had the buyer's broker, and I represented the seller broker. The seller broker was in Philadelphia. My seller was in Philadelphia. So he gave me all the powers to sign, to close. And there was a problem. I think it was like a $1,800, maintenance that was owed, but the lawyer didn't have enough in the escrow. And, the buyer said something like, with the lawyer, said, why don't the broker share it? The buyer's broker, which I don't mention the name, obviously, they were like, no, it was $900 each on a big commission,
Come on, man.
Each. Yeah, exactly. But, they were partners, the two, and they said, I don't know. And I came late at the closing. So the seller lawyer know me very well, John. And John said, Rich, we have a situation. I said, yes, John, tell me. There is $1,800, and, this is extra. Sandone, said, if you can guys split it between the two, which is the seller, the owner, and said, if you can split it between the two. And I said, agent, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. And I said to them, guys, the guy said, Rich, we don't know. I said, no problem, I'll take care of it.
Right.
No problem. It's $1,800, but it shows you how people are attached to the last time, on the last deal. That's not the way it works, because people remember that, and these little things stain not only your capability, but the person you are, because, when you're too greedy, you get slaughtered. Always. Yeah. Pigs get always slaughtered.
That's right.
So
That's
don't
right.
forget. Yeah.
That's Kramer's line, right? Pigs, pigs are. So, but what that illustrates to me, Richard, is that they were operating out of a poverty mindset or a scarcity mindset, and you operate in this abundance mindset.
Yeah. I know that I'm going to make multiple deals. I know I'm making joint venture. I know I'm making investment. I know that. I didn't come in this business thinking that this is my last deal. You kidding me? That's the first of a million every time I close one. I don't look in that way. If I look in that way, I can't even depend to get there with the subway.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
To the closing.
So
or
again,
the cab I take.
So, but does this point back to DNA, or is this something that people can learn or develop, having this abundance mindset?
It's a very challenging question, Toby. I don't know. It has to do a lot with DNA. Well, I don't know if I'm right. I tell you very frankly speaking right now. I question also myself. Sometimes I say, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should stick to that $900. The universe maybe will pay me better, saying, well, she's attached to every dollar. Unfortunately, I don't see it that way. But, telling you if I'm right or wrong, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, it's part of your personality, who you are. Yes, I would say a big percentage is who you are.
Again,
and it influences everything, Toby. It influences who you are, how you work, what you do. Yeah, of course.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I will tell you, I'm very abundance mindset, but sometimes I will get in, and I don't know why, what the trigger is, but I will get into that scarcity mindset, and I'll tell you, when I get into that mindset, the world looks scared of me. I get.
No, but Toby, hold on. Sorry to interrupt you.
No.
You need to have that. You know why? In business, when I invest $1 or $20,000 or $30,000 for anything I do, even in a building that we want to buy now in partnership with some of my partners, I calculate everything into the last drop. I'm not cheap in the sense for something like this closing I made you the example. I'm not going to sit down there and negotiate for 18 hours. Guess why? Because my time works a lot per hour. Right. I'm not going to sit down there and try to find a conclusion and postpone the closing, because that's what they wanted to postpone the closing, adjourn it, because we didn't figure out the $1,800 per square the $1,800. Right? I'm not going to sit and postpone it. You know why? Because with the commission check, I was buying an investment for myself. So I calculate, if I lose the closing 2 weeks later and I don't get my commission to close my apartment and I lose it, I'm going to lose $1 million profits rather than $1,800, $900, or $1,800.
Right.
So they're cheap and cheap. When you need to be, and everything I do right now, we hired also a PR firm. I negotiate into the last drop, because that's part of the business.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna, if they tell me our fee is $10,000 a month, I tell them, listen, $9,000. They say, okay, last price $9,100. They say no, $9,000. I see value,
Yeah. Well, okay, all right. So let's explore that a minute, right? So you see value now. I'm going to use language. I'm going to say something because I want to talk about what you do within marketing. So many people will see marketing, right? If you have a poverty mindset, marketing is a cost. Whereas, if you have an abundance mindset, marketing is an investment. So tell me, number one, how you think about that, and then number two, how do you deploy your capital in terms of marketing?
Marketing is a very tricky business.
Okay.
In every field, especially in real estate. There's some people that they market themselves so great, so highly, that when you sit down with them, they have no clue what real estate is.
Right.
It's plain simple.
Yeah.
It's plain truth. And I say, oh my gosh, how does a client go out with this broker here that represent them and doesn't even know anything about the building, doesn't know anything about what's the differences between a condominium or a cooperative, That to me is blowing out my mind. I guess it's all marketing, and it is marketing. So marketing, it has two faces of the coin. The one is the one that can trigger you. Example, this was what I just told you, a broker that has no knowledge of what's going on and has a client because he marketed himself so well and invested money in it, and that he has clients, and not for like $500,000. We're talking about $5-6 million apartments. Okay?
Yeah.
So marketing must be invested in the correct way. You have to know what the message is, what is your entry strategy is, what is your exit strategy is in the marketing. You have to know what audience you're collecting, what are you telling them, and what exactly they're hearing from you. That's the most important thing in marketing. And marketing is endless, the money you can spend. Marketing is like going to Las Vegas, which I was this weekend for a wedding of my best friend. Very, very famous guitarist, Italian, that lives in America. And we're talking about marketing. Marketing, you can spend even millions. Even millions you can spend.
And many companies do. I mean, so what do you? So out of this, you did 200 transactions last year, and who knows what you're going to do this year? I'm sure you're going to do more. How did you get those 200? What do you do in terms of marketing, or do you do any? I mean, maybe you're all word of mouth. I don't know.
I didn't do a lot of marketing. I did last year marketing. Being also in a company like Corcoran, there's also limitation. Because they have the standard policy of, what marketing you can do. But the fact that I moved to my own company, which was planned for a while, that boosts up my marketing campaign. I actually wear a lot of word of mouth. My investors, all the people that invested with me, people that sold, people that, see all my listing, they know who I am. They all started to call me and started to come with me. And once they are with me, I guarantee you it's very rare they leave me, because whatever I do, I have to make sure that their money is like my money.
Right. Absolutely.
I always feel like I am investing my own money. So that's what my clients love, and that's why they keep referring to me clients, and they buy themselves more, and they sell with me more. So I work with a lot of investors. So investors are very cyclical. They buy and sell, they buy and sell, they buy and sell, which keeps me very busy, and they talk between each other. I also work with primary owners and, pied-à-terre people. They're a little bit, the average sale is always between 2 and 4 or 5 years. So they come back later. We always keep in touch. But, they get families, they grow, they want to move out in the boroughs. They don't want to stay anymore in the city, so it's time to sell or it's time to rent. But, my investors are always very active and very around.
So Richard, a guy like you got a lot of stuff going on. You're selling real estate. You have a team. You're doing a bunch of joint ventures.
Yep.
For you, what keeps a guy like you? What keeps you up at night?
The adrenaline, the passion for business, the love, the everyday challenge, everyday morning waking up. I feel I'm very blessed. You know why? Let me tell you why. This is my answer to both questions are yes. I can't wait that it's Friday night, that I can spend time with my family, my wife, my kids, my family, and I can't wait that becomes Sunday night, that comes out the morning, on Monday, early morning, 6 a.m., to start the week. Yes and yes. I'm
interesting. So, and here's what I was really wanting to get at. I mean, what concerns you? What worries you?
Worries me?
Yeah.
Worries me is always my performance. Because I set the bar always higher, every time higher. So I put a lot of pressure on myself, a lot of pressure. And it worries me, although I am the president and CEO, it worries me if I go under that threshold, although it's very high every time. Sometimes I increase it, even exaggerating. My wife tells me I'm crazy. My managing director, Maria Yena, says, you're going overboard sometimes. But I always try to shoot higher. We have to always reach the higher goal.
Yeah.
Realistic.
Well,
to be realistic.
Yeah, I mean, this goes back to your thing about, just striving for perfection. Well, hey, Richard, this has been fantastic. We're going to start wrapping up. I'm going to ask you the same last 2 questions I ask everybody. And the first one is this, and I'm very curious about your answer, is I'm an aspiring agent. I have $25. What book should I go buy today?
You should go and buy the book of T. Harv Eker, The Millionaire's Mind. That's a fantastic book.
I've heard a lot about that book.
I love him. I think he's phenomenal.
So, The Millionaire's Mind, T. Harv Eker. If you in the audience, if you've not read this, get a free copy. Use our link. Go to audibletrial.com/superagentslive and get that book for free. Look, Richard.
Oh, it's my little Bible. Sometimes I feel depressed, like one night, because everything on top of my head, not every day goes your way.
Yeah.
I open the book. I read some quotes. T. Harv Eker put me back in the spot.
Got it. I'm gonna actually buy that right now.
Oh, you should. You should, Toby.
Okay. So look, you're a fascinating character, right? With a very rich history. But for you, Richard, do you feel like you have any personal habits that have contributed to your success?
Well, I am very, very methodical. I'm very, very meticulous. I'm very precise. I like perfection. In my work, everything I do must be perfection. And I never, when something comes, I never say, okay, I'll do it later. I do it now. If I have a meeting, I do it afterwards. Everything must be challenged and taking care of it immediately. I never wait until tomorrow. Clients ask me a question, I reply to him later. No. Chances are that I work with also overseas, so, I'm working on two kind of set of time. I go to sleep at 1, I wake up at 6.
Wow.
So sometimes I receive emails at 12:30 from my European investors, and they get my response. People say, you crazy, wait until the next morning? No, next morning is already late.
Wow.
I always say, 15 to 30 minutes, you have to reply to emails. Nowadays, the world becomes smaller, faster, and have no patience to wait.
Right. Wow.
So, if you...
Awesome, man. Well, hey, look, I wish you all great continued success. I know that you're recruiting out there, so if anybody out there in the audience is looking to join a team and you like Richard and what he stands for, reach out and look. And even if you're not in New York City, I would still like you to reach out and say thank you for a guy like Richard. He spent his valuable time sharing with me and you guys. So I appreciate it. I'll be the first guy, Richard. Thank you so much. Tell everybody where they can find you and to say thank you or try to join your team.
Yeah, of course, Toby. First of all, thank you very much and give me the honor to be here with you. And to all the listeners, which I know you're a very huge, broad, broadcast viewers, everyone listening to you, I would say if you want to reach out to us in the Nassimi Group, feel free to call us at 212-571-6300 or shoot us an email at info@tngny.com, or you can check also our website, which is www.tngny.com. Again, T as in Tom, NGNY.com.
Yeah, and for everybody listen, if you're driving out there, all this stuff, I'll have Richard's, all his contact stuff on the show notes. Just go to superagentslive.com, find Richard Nassimi, and everything will be in the show notes. So don't worry about writing it down. Hey, Richard, thanks again, man. I really appreciate you coming on.
Toby, I wanted also to wish all our veterans a phenomenal day, and I wanted to thank them personally on my behalf, my family, and the Nassimi Group for the great service they give our beautiful country.
Yeah, that is great. Yeah, and today is November 11th, and it is Veterans Day. So, all right, man, I will get that out there. Thanks, bud.
Thank you, Toby.
See you,
Bye
man.
now.
Let's go.